doesn't turn like pages. It's like, okay, here's a moment, 10 seconds, here's another one, here's another one. They don't come from somewhere, right? They're just, it just is all tied together seamlessly. Right? The moment is when you stop chopping it up. When you allow all of your being to be present in whatever it is you got going on. Not hashing out the past. If I would have. Everybody knows. I mean, we're all addicted to doing that, right? But everybody knows it serves no purpose. Right? In the future, contemplations serve a little bit more of a purpose. Right? Because, I mean, anybody can see that if you do certain things will happen. Right? If you plant a seed and water it, give it the proper environment, in the future, there'll be a plant there. Right? But it's funny because it's only the mind that considers that the future. The present being that planted it has an interest in it, that started the moment it put the seed in the ground, and it's there for every moment to make it a plant. So it's not concerned with any kind of a future in that sense. Because it's making it. The fact that it's going to stay alive and present at the very moment of creation, which is right now, because the next moment hasn't come yet, and the one before this is gone, so it's right now. Ooh, this is where creation's at. I can't speak as fast as it's going. No one can. No one can speak as fast as creation is happening. Because it just happened again, another moment. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Nope. You were totally unaware of it. Oh, there's another one. Right? The only time when we really get crazy about how we're going to dissect it is when a moment to the next moment there's like a sudden shift in the way it feels. Right? That sends us streaming all over the place. Especially when it's not good. Like, I mean, you know, the moment right now, we're all here, right? And the next moment, a suicide bomber runs in the door. That kind of changes the moment. It changes this into something else. Right? Wouldn't it? Yeah, it would make this whole moment totally different. Right? It's so hard to talk about. To be fully present. Pull all of your life force out of any activity that is not right now, out of any thought of anything that is not right now, out of anything, and to just bring it all and be with it. Some people can be partially present. We call that growth. What about fully present? I think it makes people nervous because there's not anything to do there. You realize you have very little to do with creation itself. Right? But instead of embracing that and sitting within the vibe, that good vibe that made you, what do? We go out and pretend we're that. And make you that. Oil wells and cars. More and 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 more. Right? So we've got all this, and it's removed us so far from the moment that it doesn't exist anymore. The present, it's just abstract. It's abstract to people. The future is very solid. The past is very solid. The present is this big abstraction that people's head. They're always using it, not really being satisfied in it. They're using it to achieve something.
What about creating art?
Creating art, it's vast. I mean, for me, it's vastly different. I'm talking about art. I look at art; it's alive. Even some photographs, like wow, right? Because there's tension there. There's life force streaming. If someone put that life force in there. There's cars that do that. You know that somebody had an epiphany when they're making that. You look at it and it's like striking. Why is it striking? Some guy poured his life force into it. All kinds of things. These chairs are kind of bland. Probably made in a factory, not by people. But you look at a handmade chair. There's something about it. It's so much more stunning than that thing. Right? That's art. So, you know, really, you can have all the same stuff that you have. It all could be that. But unfortunately, the only thing really around this, at least in this country, that really matters is money. That gets it all. I mean, it has it all. All that life force just running around. Because that's what's getting all the attention. Not enough, need more, want to do this, want to do that, gotta have my share, trying off my stash, the whole thing. Pink Floyd's.
They did that today.
And it's like, that's where we've put it. But, you know, I used to tell this story, and I don't know if I've told it recently, so I'm going to tell it again. We're going off topic like we always do. This anthropologist that I've met, I'm not going to tell you whether it's true or false, whether I'm telling you a story, or if I'm telling you an actual experience. But anyway, this anthropologist friend of mine finds this travel log. He goes to all these, you know, old, antique, rare bookstores in San Francisco. I mean, he's got books on witchcraft in the 1600s. It's like, what, handwritten. It's like, what the hell is that? Right? So he finds this travel log in this bookstore. And it's this guy who's writing about a South American tribe. Right? And he's drawn to it, so he picks it up and he reads it. Right? And this guy describes that these people living in South America who've never seen a white man, never seen Western culture, ever. And he had come across them, right? And had found them, but they wouldn't talk to him. So, you know, he reads his book, he's like, wow, I want to check this out. So he goes down to South America looking for them. You know, he's got the whereabouts, so he just wanders through the jungle, and he runs into them, right? They accept him, they let him in. So he goes into their tribe, he's hanging out with them, and, you know, they're adopting the language, he's seeing that there's really no possessions, there's no arguing, there's no miscommunication going on at all. There's just this sturdy glue holding that community together. And it's felt on a level that is borderline sacred, if it's not sacred. Just something otherworldly, you know, what we would consider otherworldly holding these people together. Right? All of them taking care of one another as if they were their own. Right? So he hangs out with them, does the whole thing. No money exchange, no form of trade. And he's sitting with the chief one day. He's like, you know, this is amazing. The way you live is amazing. We could learn so much from you. He's like, I would like you to come to Los Angeles with me. The chief's like, Los Angeles? He has no idea what it's like. The chief's like, I gotta think about that for a while. So he does for a couple months. This guy's kind of wants to get home and tell all of his friends, but he really wants to bring the chief. So finally the chief relents. He says, all right, come with you. All I want you to do is tell me what you think of the culture I'm from. So they fly into LAX with this guy who's never been anywhere near Western civilization at all. Fly into LAX, and that anthropologist wants a cup of coffee. He wants it bad because he hasn't really had any. So he goes down to Starbucks, and him and the chief walk in the door, and they sit down. Right? So he goes up and orders something. And the anthropologist goes up and orders something. The chief just sits there. He's looking around. The anthropologist comes and sits down. He's going to let him take it in. I mean, it's got to be pretty overwhelming, right? So he's letting him take it all in, take it all in. And finally, the anthropologist can't take it in. He looks at him. So tell me, what's your impression? What's your impression of this? He says, that thing on the wall with the symbols and the moving hands. Like the clock? He's like, yeah. What do you call it? Clock? That. And that stuff, the paper.